So hello everyone, a very warm welcome to all of you on Ecoholics YouTube platform that is there to cater the needs of RBI Grade A, Grade B aspirants. Now in today's live session, we will be having a discussion of wholesale price index. Now some of the discussion is going to be current affairs oriented. We will see why we are covering wholesale price index, what is the reason behind the discussion. We will see some other reasons as well that was there in the news and that is prominent, extremely prominent in nature. So we will see those things as well. Then we will see some static components as well. Okay, because now see, if someone will ask you, inflation is directly there in your syllabus for RBI grade B examination, but the kind of questions they ask from inflation or the topic of inflation is mostly dynamic in nature. They don't ask that much static component, and even if they are asking any static component, then the the possibilities are that some of the current affairs topic must have been in the news in regards to that particular static component. If they're asking the various number of products that is there in WPI basket, then something must have been taken place in context of WPI in the economy. If they're asking some questions, some static questions of GDP, or if they are asking some static question of, you may say, of wholesale price index or consumer price index or even the GDP numbers, if they're asking some static components, then the 99% chances are that there must be some current affairs news that was there in the news in relation to that particular topic. Then only they ask the static components, and that is the reason today we will discuss the wholesale price index and those news that was there in the current affairs in regards to this particular topic. But we will also see the static component so that we will be ready to deal any kind of questions might be originating from the this particular topic. Okay, so now with no further delay, let begin with our discussion. Just allow me a minute so I can present my screen to you people. Okay, I hope the screen must be visible to everyone now. And now let's proceed with the discussion of the day. So here it is. Wholesale price index at a 2-year low. And that is the reason. That is the reason that we are seeing it today. Wholesale price index has went the, you can say, the lowest value. We haven't seen this much amount in the last 2 years, in the previous 2 years. So wholesale price index has went 2-year low. We will see what is the static component of wholesale price index and what is some other reason because of which we are covering this particular topic. So we will see everything. Now, coming back to our main discussion, that is India's wholesale price index. Just wait for a minute. Okay. India's wholesale price index went 2-year low. That was the main reason why we are covering this. Okay. Now, wholesale price index, we also call it factory gate inflation. Now, you also knowing the different names that we use with the different terminologies. For an example, CPI, the consumer price index, combined, we also call it the headline inflation. I have seen questions in various regulatory body examination that which of the following inflation is also known as headline inflation. Over there, CPI. CPI is the one we call the headline inflation as well. And when we remove the energy and food category from the CPI, we call it core inflation. So you must be knowing the different terminology we associate with different terms. Here on wholesale price index, factory gate inflation, we also call it factory gate inflation. So it went to 0.58% minus in negative 0.58%, and it was the 2-year low. We haven't seen this much amount in previous 2 years, so that is a significant phenomena. Now it happened for the month of July 2025. Now we have our examination in the month of October, so June, July, August, and September. Whatever is happening in last 3 months, whatever data is originating, ठीक है? For the month of July, August and September, whatever data is there in the news, you need to cover it. Now you might be thinking that July is in the third month as compared to the examination month, but July month's data got releases in August only. Then it becomes important because August and September. So whatever data in regards to any index or any GDP projection, you can say, or anything is there in the news in the month of August and September, then you must remember that particular data. Okay. Now coming back to our discussion. So India's WPI, we also call it factory gate inflation, was minus 0.58%. That was the 2-year low value. Then that is there that happened. This happened in the month of July, for the month of July 2025. What was the significance? It marks the lowest WPI in 2 years, and that is the reason we are seeing it. We are discussing it, and it is indicating deflationary pressure at the wholesale level. It's not. You must have seen that economy is mostly struggling with inflation, but now here you see it is indicating a deflationary pressure on wholesale level. So that is something that we don't see usually. Okay. Now some other reasons, this is also one of the reasons that I have brought this topic for you for our discussion. Okay. This is also one of the major reasons that why we are discussing this topic. So recently the government of India has constituted a working group, and that working group is got constituted for WPI base revision. So we have made a separate live session. We have conducted a separate live session on the what is base year, on the topic of base year, and what is the impact of base year on calculation of these indexes. Okay, and the significance of base year. So if you want to get clear cut knowledge of this whole base year concepts, then you can watch that live sessions. Okay. Now, so recently, Government of India has constituted a working group for the base year revision of the wholesale price index, and that's a significant thing because whatever data we see, it might be the CPI, it might be the WPI, it might be the IIP, it might be the GDP numbers. Each and every numbers and each and every index, whatever we see, is in respect of a base year. So base year is extremely important. You must be knowing base year of all of these indexes. So for the base revision, when any working group is getting constituted for any base revision, then it becomes extremely important for us to know the chairman of that group and what is the, you can say, the proposed new base year. So this time the proposed new base year was financial year 23. Earlier, at this point of time, we have financial year 12 as a base year for the calculation of wholesale price index. But this working group got constituted by central government has proposed to revise the base year to financial year 23. Now, who was the chairman? Chairman was Professor Ramesh Chand. He is an honorary member of Niti Aayog. Additional mandate. So this working group also suggested improvement in compilation and presentation. They also recommended roadmap for transition from WPI to producer price index. So PPI is also something that you will be seeing in the upcoming time. That this group has recommended that now Indian economy should, or the central government should, transit from the numbers of WPI to PPI. Now PPI stands for producer price index. We are going to have a live session soon on producer price index as well. Okay. Now, so that was a these are the two major reasons that why we are covering this particular topic. Now see, factory gate inflation, from here you need to remember two important things, not two three important things. That for the month of July, the WPI numbers was 0.58%, that too in negative. That indicates a deflationary pressure at the wholesale level. First thing. Second thing is, recently central government has constituted a working group for wholesale price index base revision. Now, what is the new proposed base year? It is financial year 23. As of now, we are having it as financial year 12. Who was the chairman? Chairman was the Professor Ramesh Chand, member Niti Aayog. Additional mandate of this committee, additional mandates are this. They have suggested that we need to improve the compilation and presentation of WPI, and with the time we need to transit from WPI to PPI. These are the few important things that you must be knowing from this particular slide. Moving ahead, what was the reason behind the drop? The reason behind was decline in food prices. So if any unprecedented event is taking place, for an example, if you ask me, sir, COVID was an unprecedented event. Yes. So I would ask, so what was the region from it, from where this originated? So everyone knows that it originated from China. Okay. So whenever an unprecedented kind of situation happens, we must know the major cause. So for this 2-year low WPI that we are seeing, the major reason was the decline in food prices. Primary food prices deflated 6.29%. In a third consecutive month, we are seeing that there is a deflation in primary food articles. Then in fuel and power as well, we saw the deflation of 2.53%. And then the manufactured good, the only, you can say, the subcomponent of WPI that shows an inflation of 2.05%. Okay? Now, even if it increased, the deflationary pressure in these two above, you can say, segments were so much prominent that the entire July month WPI went down. Okay? Now, now let's come to the static component, that what is wholesale price index. We discussed why it was in news. We discussed the reason behind. Okay? If it was in news because we saw the WPI was a 2 years low. Okay? Then we saw that recently central government constituted a committee to revise the base year of WPI. But now we should also be knowing that what is WPI in detail. As of now, we know basic fundamental, everyone knows that it is a price index, it is an inflation measurement tool, you can say. Okay? It is an inflation measurement tool that measures the inflation level that is there in a wholesale market. This is fundamental thing everyone knows for CPI, for WPI. But if we are preparing for RBI, then we should be knowing something extra. Then definition goes to, it measures the price changes of goods traded in bulk. That's why the name wholesale, between the businesses. It is not about the consumer. It is not something that consumer is consuming. It is not related with those items. These are the items that are getting traded in bulk, that too between the businesses. Now, wholesale market, it only cater the wholesale market, and it only caters the goods only, and services got excluded. Over here they exclude the services. They don't, even if the exchange of services is happening between two businesses, they don't include in the calculation of wholesale price index. It tracks supply demand dynamics in industry, manufacturing and construction, and it doesn't include the services sector. Okay, do remember it. Sorry, it got released by the economic advisor, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, on a monthly basis. Usage, month to month WPI changes indicate wholesale inflation. Obviously, if I'm telling you 2% was the inflation in the month of June, 10% in the inflation was the inflation in the month of July, then you will realize, okay, the inflation is increasing. We are seeing the inflationary pressure on the wholesale market. So month to month WPI changes, and it indicates and it projects the situation of inflation on a wholesale market. But major important thing is that it only caters to industry, manufacturing and construction sector. Even if the services is getting transacted between two businesses, it doesn't take care, it doesn't considers the services. Okay? It only measures the price changes of good traded in bulk between the businesses, and it doesn't include services. Do remember it. Okay? Now, calculation and base year, if you ask me, so as of now, the base year is financial year 12, but we know that it is, the working group has proposed to update it to financial year 23. Number of commodities, 697 number of commodities that it considers while calculating the WPI. It is based on wholesale prices of selected commodities reflecting economic data. Now, what are the components of the WPI? So we know, as of just now, we saw that 697 is the total component. 697 is the total products, you can say, or the goods, or the number of commodities WPI considers while calculating the wholesale price index. Now, this 697, if you see, is divided in sub components, in some major components, you can say. The first and the most major component is manufactured goods. It is the largest component. It has a weightage of 64.23%. Now, see, In the NPS National Pension System, ठीक है, grade A examination that I think happened in 2024 only. In that particular examination, they asked a question that which of the following has the highest weightage in the calculation of wholesale price index. The answer was manufactured goods. So now see, the regulatory body also frames question on static component. If WPI is in the news, they will ask that okay, what is the present base year of wholesale price index? They're not asking you the July month data or the August month data. In July month, the WPI was a 2-year low. That was the reason WPI was in the news, but they have framed a static question that what is the current base year? They may ask, okay, what is the number of commodities in the wholesale price index? They can even frame a statement based question. They will frame question like this: it is getting released by the NSO. ठीक है, that is a incorrect statement. It only caters the goods, it don't caters the service sectors. ठीक है, so if you see this kind of statement based question, they can also frame. So it depends. ठीक है, so the major components are three: primary articles, fuel and power, and manufactured goods. These are the three components. The highest weightage goes with the manufactured goods, that is 64.23%. Then the second highest is primary article, that has a weightage of 22.62%. Then we have the fuel and power. ठीक है, so do remember it, extremely important. If you see in manufactured goods, we have textile, paper, chemicals, plastic, etc. In primary goods, we have food and non-food category. In food category, we have cereals, pulses, vegetables, fruits. Non-food, we have oil seeds, minerals, etc. ठीक है. In fuel and power, we have the petrol, diesel, ठीक है, that we utilizes LPG, coal, electricity, etc. ठीक है. So we saw that why wholesale price index was in the news. There was a two major reason. Then we saw what was the reason behind the first news, that the India's WPI at 2 years low. What was the reason behind it? Then we saw the static component, that what is the wholesale price index, and then some more static component that is important from the examination point of view. And this is something you must be knowing about WPI if you are preparing for this year RBI grade B examination or even any regulatory body examination. Okay? Now this is it for today's discussion. Thank you so much for attending today's live session. And if you want to download this data for free of cost, then you can download it from the Ecoholics app that is available on the Google Play Store. Even if you have any kind of queries in regards to the paid courses that we provide, you can contact on this number. You can take a screenshot, you can contact on this number, and our experienced academic counselor will cater each and every query of yours appropriately and in a most appropriate way. Okay? Now, thank you so much for joining today's live session. And before leaving, do subscribe to our channel. Do turn on the notification bell on, so that whenever we go live with such interesting topic, you will get the notification first. And for your information, we will be going live on a daily basis from these kind of keeping these kind of interesting topic. Okay, and I know from my past experiences that all of these topics are going to help you immensely in the phase 1 and phase 2 examination of RBI grade B. So do attend our live sessions regularly. Till then, have a great day ahead. Bye.